Yeah, so our team is one of 5 teams in community nursing. We're in the North locality, and we decided that we perhaps need to review our shifts because there was a need to look at flexible working. It came as one of the staff sort of survey themes, and also it was kind of driven by demand by the patients as well. So the service, we have a lot of diabetics in the city of which need help with their administration of insulin, and also it can get really busy between 4 and 5 when the shift would normally end, with carers going in to see patients. So a lot of patients are supported at home by care packages, and carers might be visiting patients who require a district nurse at that time. So I think a combination of the demands of the service, the diabetic patients, the unplanned visits, and also staff wanting to work more flexibly to fit in with work-life balance was why we decided that it was probably a good time to look at looking at flexible working. And we kind of engaged with the staff quite informally around whether they would be interested in working longer shifts but fewer days, and seeing what the appetite was for that. We got a positive response from that. About 75% of the staff were interested in working longer but fewer days. So we engaged with them and we looked at some of the shift patterns that would typically fit into the 37.5-hour week and how that might look, like scope it out with the staff that we had. It did mean that we had to compromise, so not everyone was able to do longer shifts. We kind of drew the line at people who work 30 hours and more, because we wouldn't have had enough staff to cover core district nursing had everyone changed to longer shifts. So we set about looking at who would be interested in taking it forward, what kind of shifts they would be doing, lunch breaks, and then it was my kind of responsibility to draw up a rota for sort of a 3-month block so people had a good idea of what the off-duty was, and whether that fitted in, and to look at all the sort of requests for holidays, days off for work on the weekend, study leave, working out what percentage of staff could have annual leave. And we drafted up some rotas, and there was many versions of the rotas when we first did it. Yeah, it's kind of just been implemented 5 weeks ago, and so far the feedback's been largely positive.
Well, I was working 37.5 hours over a 5-day period, and having 1 day off a week before and after a weekend if we worked weekends, and I already felt the benefits of having that day off during the week. With this new working pattern where we work less days but longer days, we can have more days off during the week, so you feel like you have a bit of time off for yourself, a bit more time to relax, a bit more time to do things at home, so you can then enjoy your weekends with your family rather than spending all your weekends doing household chores and shopping and what have you. I think it allows us to work more geographically. We've certainly seen the benefit of being able to group patients together and spend less time travelling. We're working more together as a cluster. I think the teams are working more together as one big area rather than individual teams, and I think as a sister I feel I can support the other junior members of the other teams if their sister isn't in practice that day.
Personally, because you get an extra day off, so it kind of gives you a day during the week to be able to do like your boring admin stuff at home for like appointments, and just to have a bit more chill time really. And I think it's working professionally in the sense kind of we're starting earlier, we can see more of our diabetic patients in the morning, and it kind of gives us more scope at the end of the day for any like additional things that might come in, so like unplanned calls that maybe wouldn't necessarily go to like the same day response team, or it's maybe in between our time in the evenings. So I found personally that we are able to take on more during our shift and handing less over to the evenings, so it's kind of worked a bit better in that sense.
I think the advice I would give to the teams who were looking to review their flexible working practice would be definitely to try it, not to be too frightened by change, and to kind of continuously reviewing, so implementing the model, but then listening to our staff, listening to their feedback, trying to improve it, suggesting little changes, reviewing if they're having any impact, and just constantly reviewing it. We'll meet regularly. Communication's really key to it being a success, and being able to demonstrate the impact. So we are keeping an audit of the patients, the additional patients that we're seeing, the capacity that we've got. So we're trying to demonstrate its worth, really. And ultimately, the staff feel valued, listened to, and positive because they've got that additional sort of day off. That work-life balance works for them. It's a nicer atmosphere to work in.